Keep on this time. Heavy is the head. I see the boat throwing. I'm too full with it. I gotta keep going. Kobe with the wins. You niggas just Ginobili. You winning only cause of me. Let's keep the ball rolling. No disrespect, Slim. Where is your check, Slim?
Welcome back to another episode of the You Weren't There podcast. I'm, of course, your host at Mia Was Here, and I'm so very honored to bring you guys this show today. We got a repeat.
Hey, happy to be
But
here.
you know, people change over time, man. So we're going to see what we can get into today. We're going to let our guests introduce themselves once again. We're going to get into their journey for those that missed it. And then we're going to step right in. Joey?
What's up, everybody? Glad to be back. Joeespacey, Joeespacey, and I'm a visual artist from PG County, Maryland. And yeah, I'm just here to connect, articulate my feelings, and enable middle ground with my peers as I grow as a person. And it just helps me, get my story out and just, connect with my peers and everyone who's on this journey with me.
Amen.
Hell yeah.
Samoris?
Yeah, so my name is Samoris. That's Samoris. You can find me on every platform at Samoris. I'm an artist. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a retired hustler turned entrepreneur because this got to turn over and it's got to be on tax paperwork and the money got to be showing in order for it to be growing. And that's something that I like to teach to my young folks. I don't like to see myself as like a peer mentor, more as like a peer, and we learn from each other. So I'm involved in the community, putting hands on the young folks, making sure that they're moving in the right direction, because that's how I moved in the right direction. I was always involved in the proper youth programs, whether it be through church or the community. So that's my thing. Yeah, and I throw shows. We've been throwing shows around the area. It's been great. It's been coming across well. Love and Power, big on the 25. I'm not going to eat up too much of the time, but that's it. I'm Samoris, and you should check me out and learn more.
And of course, we got our co-host, Chaz.
Peace, family. We back.
Made that one quick.
Mm-hmm.
So before we even get started, Joey, I want to give you some space and some opportunity to kind of introduce the pieces that we have on our table today, right? You were, beautiful enough to bring us some artwork. We want to make sure that we celebrate it. We want to give you an opportunity to kind of explain not just the packaging, but like what your idea was behind this before we even get started today.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate that. So what we have before you on the table is a 3D printed figure. It's called Heartstring Balloons. It's comprised of 3 parts: heart, balloon, string, and then the base. So pretty much this is derivative of a original 4x6 painting that I did, rather small. I recreated it twice originally. The concept of this is that you can be positively or negatively impacted or affected with an A by the person that you're romantically involved with. You get that good morning text, when you get them special gifts, those special little things that make your day. That's the positive side. When she or he is starting to do those things that rub you the wrong way, it's little things that irk you intentionally. Those are the negative sides. So that's why it's a heartstring balloon. I've done visuals for it. I'm going to continue to do visuals for it. This is a concept that I'm passionate about, and I'm always going to keep remixing over time because it has legs. Mm-hmm. So right now, this is the second variation of it in the 3D printed form. And my packaging has, the concept on the back. On the front, simple. The title of it, my logo, and the original imagery in full appearance.
Right. And Sam, you brought some things up here today too as well, right?
Oh yeah, I always got a little something.
Okay, let's see it.
Let me see. So I've been actually utilizing this one. This is one of our first pieces through Wood Thrush. Like I said, I've been working with artists in the area. So we've been getting some solo pieces together with them, some collab pieces. It's some tree in here that I did with a young man by the name of Meech. I'm not going to put you on too heavy, but mad scientists, go look him up. And we grew a strand called Good Time. Mm-hmm. And after this is over, we can all partake. And all who do partake are welcome to partake in the good time. So, yeah, we got that available. And then, I'm always pubbing the family, Munch and Fly. That's just a dude who actually came from Queens and moved down into this area. He shot my very first music video. And so that pretty much made him like my cousin from another mother from then on.
Right.
So ever since then, and then what was wild was I was at Planet Fitness one time and Yo pulled up on me and was just in Planet Fitness in Fort Washington, Maryland. I was like, nigga, we part of your Queens. What are you doing here, bro? Yeah, so that was a blessing. So yeah, we always got pieces, and then I got some more that I'm sure I'll bring up later on as we talk in conversation. I don't want to flood, but we got a lot. It's we've been blessed recently.
Okay, yes, sir.
You know, and we're gonna be sharing some images of that. So make sure y'all follow the podcast at You Weren't There Podcast everywhere, so you can make sure you get up close and personal with those images. What I want to get into first, right? So we always love to kind of get into the journey. We never know who's watching, right? And the people that watched your previous episodes, you know, may not get a chance to see this one. And then there are going to be some people who see this one who didn't get a chance to see those. So give us, you know, kind of a brief introduction as far as your journey as an artist. We're going to start with you with that, Samoris. You know, kind of how you got your start. And then we're going to jump into kind of like where your roots in New York kind of began, right? Because I got to be a part of that journey a little bit.
Cheers. A lot of it.
You know, and for those that don't remember, like Samoris is my brother, man. I know Samoris a long time. We got a lot of history, man, and we've been through a lot of things.
Amen.
And I think what Samoris taught me is that, you know, friendship is not friendship if you can't be accountable. And if you know, can't apologize when you make a mistake, you know what I mean? And we all going through shit, man. And I'm the kind of person, like, I'm going through some shit. I'll say some shit and don't even remember it, but it cut a motherfucker so deep. But we got to really be accountable for the things that we say, for the people that we say that we care about. And if you can't, you know, double back, apologize to your friends, be accountable for the mistakes that you make to try to repair those things, then I don't know what you're doing out here, man, because everybody is going to make some of those. You know, but I got to be a part of some of that journey in New York, man. It was a time I was out there like every other weekend kicking it with some Moors, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, seeing kind of like his evolution from where we were in college to what he became as an artist and as an entrepreneur, you know, with New York being, you know, sort of the path for some of that. I do want to make sure that we get a chance to get into that today. So, you know what I'm saying? Give us the journey, brother.
Hell yeah. So a brief synopsis of the journey. I've actually just finished doing the Love and Power Art Gallery at Legacy DC. Sold that out. Big shout out to Legacy DC. They've become family with us in the High Five family over there. The journey started back in church. I mean, that's just where everything is. I can't act like it was anywhere else. I started in the choir.
Amen.
The choir was directing me into where I needed to be. And from there, it taught me the skills that I needed in order to interact with other people so that we can be collaborative. That's one of the biggest things that I take into my career is that I collaborate. Throughout my group, throughout my journey, you can see several different groups that I've been with because I bit hard on it takes a group, it takes a village to make it and render the true journey. So that's what I've been doing. I've been working with the community. I've been vibing with the community. I came through as a military brat. There is no home base. So the home base was actually riding with my brother who's in the background right now, who's on stage with me everywhere that I go.
Shout out to Aaron.
Big shout out to Aaron. Big shout out to his part in Parlay. We got the song out right now that's actually making waves in the city. We're hoping to make it to the radio. Big shout out to 89.3 WPFW. They put us on the radio before, so we know we're looking for them to do it again. So yeah, it's been, like I said, it's a collaborative journey. I've been with my brother. I've been with people who God has blessed me to be able to call sisters, people who God has blessed me to be able to dismiss and not have to call anything. So yeah, the journey has been reflective. It took me to New York, where I worked V-Files, where I worked the biggest fashion week of all time. I'm super excited. And, you know, I got YG on one side, we got Rico Nasty on the other side, and I'm producing products for both of them. And it's mind blowing, while at the same time, the bill still got to get paid. And I got to make sure that I'm charging the appropriate numbers and not just with the big eyes, because I'm excited. So yeah, my journey definitely started off in artistry, in music, and it continues in music, but I have had the blessing to be able to roll over into things like acrylic paint, into things like spray paint, into things like set design and videography. So yeah, like I said, reform hustler, we determined that we spend too much time putting together little pieces, then you get a little mountain. So we worked on the bigger pieces, and here we are. in one of the bigger pieces. And my sister Spot, who is not only like, I don't want to do too much, and I said this the first time, but I'm hyped every time I get to walk in this motherfucker because I've seen her journey, and I've been a part of it, going from literally shooting a interview for her that never came out because I just fucked up the sound on that joint. Like, we shot a whole interview, but an artist that I'm sorry, I forget who you were, but the bigger picture for me was, I can't believe I did this whole interview with no sound. So we shot this whole interview. Mia hit me up like 2 weeks later, like, hey bro, I know that motherfucker look good. Hit me up with that joint. I'm like, yeah. Let me work with it. Let me work something out. I'm trying to figure out if we could do a voiceover for this shit and make it work out, man. We definitely grew together through this journey into the point where, you know what I'm saying, we both have some reputable standing on that resume so that we can be here and have this conversation. So yeah, the journey continues. So I don't want to talk about it like it's over, but definitely it has been a blessing to come out of this area. Both my parents from this area. So yeah, shout out BG County, shout out DC.
For sure.
All right.
And you know what? I think it's so funny that Sam mentioned that, because like, I think like it was moments like that that prepared me for the changes that have taken place with this show. You know, there's evolution every week, and we're growing and learning every week, and it's not always perfect. And I appreciate everybody that's continuing to tap in and that's continuing to show love to us, because, you know, just in the last like month or so, you know, we had some growing pains. And I think like it's those moments that teach you like to remain patient with yourself, with the people that you had the pleasure to be in a room with every week, with the people that own the spaces that you in. You know, so you can continue to have collaborative working relationships without losing your cool in a moment where you feel like this should be better. And I feel like so much of my ability to show any kind of patience, so much of it comes from things that I learned from Samoris and things that I learned kind of like during our time growing up, right? As I mentioned, you know, Samoris and I, we went to college together, right? And those are kind of your formative years. Because those are the years where you're really stepping into adulthood. You're 19, 20 years old, and you know, you hope that in that point of your life, you know who you are. And I think like I was blessed to like know the core and the essence of who I was, but you really still figuring out what you want out of life and what you're good at. And I think like that's a whole nother journey and a whole nother challenge that we don't give youngers enough credit for overcoming. Just figuring out what you want to do. That's a battle that's so much larger than who you are as a person. And I believe that God makes room for your gifts, but figuring out what that gift is, and especially if you're a person that has multiple gifts, honing in on them, you know, so that they have direction and purpose, it's like a whole nother thing that you got to figure out, and it's hard. And you know, I look at, you know, I feel like, you know, Samoris is a military brat, and my mother was a DC firefighter for, you know, over 30 years, and so you do come from these very structured households, which is one of the things that we had in common real early.
Cheers.
And also, you know, we grew up in church and we met in choir. And so you come from these very structured, very religious households. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Alto.
I don't do that, man. Come on, man. I don't tell no my business now. I know these people like that. Listen, so you come from these like real structured households. And so there's a much bigger price on figuring out what you want to do and figuring it out quickly. And I think when you come from a family where like your parents had these very large, very important, very structured careers, there is a little bit of a push behind that for you to like have a certain level of structure behind what you want to do. And sometimes the creativity is not valued the same way, right? And even though you have those people's support, you know, there's a difference between like your people's letting you know, no matter what, I got you, versus like coming out to your events and like, you know what I mean? And I feel like we had parents that like evolved in our gifts, you know, and that gave us space to learn who we were while still encouraging like figure it out, right? Whatever the thing is, figure it out. And I feel like that's so important. And I feel like so much of that guidance, so much of that structure has been lost in a lot of my youngins. When I look at my little cousins and things like that, like there's so much that you can do, so much that you can be, so much at your fingertips. It does make it a little bit harder to narrow in sometimes.
True.
Right? Or to figure out how to turn those gifts into like capital gain. So, or like, does your gift have to equal capital gain? Right? How much of your gift needs to result in monetary outcome versus how much of it is just for you? Right? That's a journey in and of itself. Is deciphering between what you want to do based on your gift that just makes you happy versus what you want to do with your gift that makes you money. And I think like that's sometimes that's a desperate struggle for some, right? Especially when you do come from a more structured background, or if you come from no structure at all and you need to put some food on the table. So, you know what I mean? I just think that's like an important point to make with regard to these youngins. And I know like so many of our friends, they having kids now, right? And are married and are building those family structures for themselves. So I just encourage that, man, like give your kids space to be able to enjoy the gift, figure out the gift, and let the structure come in when it needs to come in. The gift is going to make room for them, right? Because that's God's plan. But let them figure out which portion of their gift is to make money versus what part of it is to make them happy. You know what I mean? And so when we talk about happiness, right? Joey, you have a piece here where we're talking about pulling on heartstrings, where we're talking about emotional understanding and attachment, right? What was the inspiration behind you saying you needed something that represented that kind of duality? I know, right? I'm so good at this. I know. I know. I know. It's tough. I know. I know. You see how I move in and out this shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I do, man? You know, go ahead, do your thing.
That was good.
I did the OG painting. Like I wasn't out here. I was living out AZ for a minute. So I was kind of, I'm spiritual. So I was kind of just like feeling all my experiences, reflecting on like wanting to communicate better as a Black man, wanting to show it, and still not feel. I never felt less of myself or weak because I could communicate how I felt. It just never happened. I didn't grow up like that. I'm the only boy out of 3 children. I got 2 sisters. I'm not soft because I can tell you how I feel because we for sure can knuckle up. But being in love teaches you a lot. Teaches you a lot about yourself when you have the balance of a young lady in a woman's whatever. You have that balance of a partner romantically. It teaches you a lot about yourself. Forces you to be uncomfortable with your communication because y'all are growing together. A lot of my romantic experiences kind of come about. They kind of manifest in my work, whether it's a visual, whether it's 3D printed heartstrings, whether it's a painting. This is just one of those variations that is now taking another life and has grown as I've gotten better in my communication and my artistic journey. Sometimes it's alignment. God putting the right people in your life to help you communicate and, mobilize a message. So I'm always just here trying to make sure that I do stand on a positive message because we are surrounded by a lot of heavy negativity and darkness, but the DMV is very layered. The world is very layered.
For sure.
Just because we here or we are stationed here, our reach, our influence has always shown to be deeper and brought more abroad than here. There are legends, big stars who get sauce from here, run with it and become big names everywhere.
Say that all the time.
All the time. So yes, this is one of those examples for me personally on how you go through something, feel it. That's just my cycle, my pattern. I go through something, I feel it, then it manifests some way in a creative art form, and then I push it forward. It's not always for monetary gain. Money is great, but it is to communicate and leave behind a trail of, kind of just like ideology or experiences that you can touch, feel, and have for yourself.
That was deep, Joey.
Thank you. I'm on my love, Joey.
I see that. We can feel that coming from you, right? And I think like, I think like, I'm a woman. And so I always feel like so much of a man's growth or lack thereof is deeply impacted by the relationships that he holds or is unable to. And I think like I have had so many friends like Samoris, like the guys that we went to college with, where you kind of gotten to see the levels, right? You've gotten to watch guys grow from like 20-year-old college kids. And you know what that look like. If you don't know, watch a movie. It's all true. To like men who feel, who communicate, who love, who fall, and who, become their fathers.
Yeah.
And and I say that as a compliment to Samoris, and he know that.
Yeah.
But the reality is, like, I feel like so much of like your journey to become maybe the best version of yourself has to do with your success or lack thereof in the relationships that you have with women. And so when you look at kind of like your first relationship, right? That first time that you felt connected enough to a person to like give yourself that way, to who you are now, like, what do you feel like were some of the early red flags in those relationships versus like the green flags that you look for now or that you experience now to let you know, like, I'm in the right place? Let's start with you some more.
Shit. From the first time that I was shit. From
You
the
gotta
first
go
time
there.
that I was the growth. So the question is, what is the growth pattern that I have
As far as like red flags that you saw?
picked?
Yeah. So the red flags that you saw that you like, man, I miss those.
Yeah.
Versus like the green flags that you see now in your relationship that you like, I know where I'm supposed to be.
Oh, cheers. Yeah, I can definitely speak to that. That's awesome. Thank you. You gave me an alley-oop. I'm getting some pussy later. So the easiest thing that I can see in this joint is I didn't look for people who looked to impress me. I looked for people who were impressive. And there's a difference, because people who are impressive, if they don't see the need to impress you, then what's the point of being with that person? We could just be friends and be impressive around each other all the time. But when you find somebody who is impressive and doesn't just see their impression on the world as being enough for you, it's also a special conversation. Excuse me, and that's because I walked in late. It's also a special conversation to the side. Well, it's like, without having to say words, you can see that they're trying to put on for you. Not just,
so it's a show more than it is like genuine.
Yeah, well, no. So what I'm saying is that I need you to be able to put on a show. Like, I need you to not only live a life of an impressive person, because I'm not going to be attracted to you if you're not impressive. That's just, I was raised by an impressive woman and an impressive man. They came together, made an impressive young man, and now I need an impressive woman. So if that's the tracking that I'm going on, then I already can look at the things that you got going on in your life and say, oh, you fly, or you fire, or you got this going on in your life that elevates you above the rest, which is why I'm looking at you. So the next step in that is for you to not only recognize, okay, so I'm above the rest, which is why he sees me. He's above the rest, which is why I see him. And now let me do something that is, okay, I see he like this. Let me do that thing that he like, so that I can do that thing that she like, because it's a part of the romantic turn for a man to try to figure out what his woman like and then give her that. But it's looked down, I think, and I'm not going to get too deep into it. I am a PK. But I think that the importance of a woman or a partner playing the role of support without it feeling as if it is a negative step or a job, or like it's like I owe this to you. It's like, no. I want to do that. Like, I look forward to doing that. Like, I woke up in the morning this morning, my baby like coffee, you feel me? I'm not really the biggest coffee fan, though I've learned a love for coffee over the time. But I know when she get up out of bed, if that coffee is made and the dog is already walked, we having a great morning. Nigga, I might get back in the bed and get to bed. You feel me? So I got the, if I do that, then it's not even, because the mornings where she, you know what I'm saying, we're not putting a towel down in my house. That's not how she lives. So in the mornings where it's not available, I'm still getting up and making the coffee. I'm still getting up and walking the dog, even though it's not turning over something for me. It's just, I want her to have a better day as her day starts, as she smiles waking up. When she's in the shower and knowing that there's nothing else that she has to do but get dressed and go to work, my day is better. So, and because I feel that, then I needed somebody else who felt that. And I didn't look for that when I was younger. I just looked for somebody to be impressive. You had to be fine. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really have a whole lot of homeboys that I needed to impress, because the niggas who I ran with looked for impressive women as well. So we didn't necessarily need to compete in that aspect. Whereas I had to meet par. So I'm not trying to make sure that my joint was better than yours, but I need to make sure that nobody is outdoing my joint. That's something that I had to grow up on myself, where I didn't even look to, if yours is outdoing mine, that's because it's in your eyes, and I'll never see it that way. Yeah, and that's something that I needed to learn. That was a growth pattern within myself, not just looking at my partners. Accountability, but that's just something across the board that we all struggle with throughout the years. That's not anything I want to place on one person or the next. We was kids. Niggas wasn't accountable. You know what I'm saying? And I was an athlete at college, so it was available, and I didn't turn it down. You know what I'm saying? So I can't act like, I expect you to be this way when I ain't living that way. So, I lived my life, and I came to the conclusions that I did. But definitely, the biggest thing that I would look for was somebody who didn't aim to just be impressive, but who thought that it was important to be impressive to me, even on the days where we kind of pissing each other off. You know what I'm saying? I don't really want to get on your face, but yeah.
That's a big one. Like, that's a big one. Like,
acts of service for sure.
Yeah.
Heavy.
Acts of service. That's one of my big ones for sure. And words of affirmation. Those are my two for sure.
Yeah, physical touch.
I'm not like, it's nice. It's nice. You know what I mean? Like, I'm definitely a physical touch person. But I think like if there are tiers or a hierarchy, acts of service is number one.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I think when I think acts of service, I hear so many of these conversations, right? These $200 date bullshit y'all keep talking about. And it's like, when I hear the concept of acts of service, so much of it is geared towards like buying things. And that's not what I ever think of when I think acts of service. Acts of service is taking out the trash so I don't have to think about it. Acts of service is I send my back hurt and you give me a massage. Acts of service is like I like avocados and you go get them from the store. You know what I'm saying? Like it's doing things that I need you to do without me having to ask, or things that I like done without me having to ask. And like for me, if I need groceries in a house and you buying a bag, what the fuck does that do for me? But I'm not a person who's ever been impressed by those things because I done had it for a long time. And I think when you've had your own,
talk your shit.
This is the truth. Like
That's
Sam,
it.
know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
yeah.
Like I don't get up here and talk this shit because I'm bullshitting.
Yeah.
I done had it together for a long time.
Yeah.
And that can
Since
be
I met you.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying, which was like 2008.
Yeah.
So 7 technically.
Yeah.
So like I think like I've been a person who came from a woman who had her shit together, and so you feel like you need to. And so I felt like more of a push, maybe even more of a rush to get my shit together a little faster. And so when I got out of college, I ain't wasting a whole lot of time. So I think for me, like, because I've always kind of like had things in place and I came from a woman who had things in place, you can never impress me with things. So buying me a bag I don't need would not impress me more than buying some groceries that I do need. You know what I mean? And that's it. I think so. When I think acts of service, I'm always thinking of it that way. But I think we've gotten into this space of like, when we think service, like to whom though? Like, is that act of service to me or is it to the people looking at me? You trying to impress them or you trying to impress me? And I think like so often people get into these relationships that turn into disasters and wonder why they don't work. It's because like, how much time did you spend getting to know a person in terms of like what's impressive to them specifically? Not to the people that they're friends with, not to their family, not to their followers, not to their timeline. How much time did you spend trying to be impressive to that individual? And by impressive, I think we mean like things that like that person feels are special. Right. But I think like so often people get into these relationships of bore because they look good, but they like aren't actually good. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's so much more important to be in a situation that is good, that feels good, that's good to you and good for you, than it is to be in a situation that looks great in all of the Instagram pictures and you still fucking miserable. Right. And I mean, we blessed to have a married man on the panel today, Chaz, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like so often we focus on our guests and we will continue to do that throughout this show. You know what I'm saying? We're going to take as much time as we need on this one. But I do want to get the perspective of a married man, right? When you look at your wife, right, who you've now born children with, build a life with, a business with, a legacy with, what do you feel like were the green flags you noticed early that let you know, like, nah, I think I got something?
Oh, no, early was me when it comes to her, because we've been together since we was 18 for real. We went to school. Her open-mindedness, like she's open-minded. So, I'm coming, a Muslim. I'm coming to school Muslim, and just through conversation, like that age, 18, 19. Oh, you don't eat this? You don't eat, oh, that's weird. That's different. But she was quiet, just listen. And I just peeped that, like, okay, she open-minded. All right. And then the next steps from that was it took us like 9-10 months to really get, to the next level.
Okay.
So it was like, but it wasn't like it was off of friendship. It was just friendship, you know what I'm saying? But that process let me know, like, dang, these other females I'm coming across, I'm getting it after 2 days or whatever. It's like, that's a red flag to me. But
that was a red flag for you.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because my grandfather rested
That
one
must
of my
be the lack of pork in your diet.
no.
Go ahead with that, bro.
No, for real. Because coming up, a lot of times is the same way you get them is the same way you could lose them. So if I could pull her in 2 days, the next dude could pull her in 4 days, probably.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it sometimes it's been like that, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So that right there was a green flag to me. Like, man, it's gonna take a lot to impress. Y'all talking about her, impress her. I like that. I like to be challenged. You know what I'm saying? So that was it was that and a lot of different other factors. And then as I matured, because we was not together for some time, I'm not to go too in detail, but it was a passing in her family, which was her grandfather was my man. So I got the call, but her discipline, I like, her discipline. So it was like, I not only want her, but I need her. You know what I'm saying? It was a need in it.
That.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a workaholic. I am disciplined too. Like you said, no, I'm disciplined. So I needed a partner who's just as disciplined, who got work ethic, and that made sense. So it was just a lot of different stars that aligned that it was like, this is green flag. Because I'm trying to do a legacy here. I'm have children in the future. And you have to, because listen, heaven lies at the foot of a woman or hell. So you choose, you know what I'm saying? I want heaven, right? I don't want hell, you know what I'm saying? So I seen those characteristics and I knew I had a mission early. You know what I'm saying? So who's gonna be a better helpmate than someone that can align with my life? So now, my mind is her mind. That's how deep it gets. You know what I'm saying? So now we become one.
Cheers.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I could go on, but that's just a little bit, about the green flags I seen early.
And you know what? You said a very important term, helpmate, right? And we've talked a little bit about the concept of a helpmate on here before, right? In order for you to be, I feel like a valuable helpmate, right? And part of that is submission. And I know we hate to talk about that, ladies, but the job of a woman is to submit, right? Not to a man, but to the God within a man, right? And that's where people get lost, right? That's where it all gets lost.
Yep.
You don't want to submit to some nigga, right? Somebody telling you what to do or telling you who you need to be. But you know what? The right man, that's part of his job, right? Is to lead and guide you into the woman of God that you need to be, and for you to be the backbone and the structure behind that situation, right? And we talk a lot about submission, but the other part of that is that a man gotta love his wife the way God loved the church. So if that be the case, right? You don't submit to the man, you submit to the God within him. So you gotta trust he gonna do right by you. So I understand a lot of women's objection, especially in this era where you got niggas reckless and doped up and like drinking crazy, right? Niggas is unks at 18, 19 now, right? Moving into addiction at 24 and 25. Things that they don't want to accept. But whether y'all want to admit it or not, right? Them 40, 50-year-old niggas standing in front of them liquor stores, they did not make those choices at 38. Those choices started in their teens and 20s, right? So you gotta first get to who you supposed to be, no matter what your belief system is, whether you believe in a God or not, right? The first step is for you to become who you meant to become. When you become who you meant to become, you then become aligned with whatever higher power it is that you're serving. And then that higher power is who leads and guides you into the woman that you're supposed to be with. And that woman becomes the backbone and structure of the future that you build. That is the narrative. But I think we gotten into this place where it's like women don't want to submit because they don't trust that he would do right by them. It is so much cheating, so much recklessness.
Niggas made submission a cuss word.
Yeah. Like couldn't have said it no better.
I can't ask you to submit without being willing to submit.
I'm telling
you. Talking about being a backbone, that take a lot of structure, that take a lot of strength, that take a lot of what we ask of our, in particular, black men, what we ask of our women. We ask a lot of strength of our black women, but then we also ask them to be dainty. And we also ask them to be sexy. While at the same time, I still need you to be able to run 50-50 with me. But then I also kind of look down on 50-50, but at the same time, I kind of need 50-50. So it's like we gotta stop condemning the mindsets that we need in order to succeed. If you need her to submit so that you can make the proper decisions, then you need to submit so that she can align you for the decisions that you just made. We both have to align in order to move forward and take steps, but we ain't making those steps if everybody fighting. Niggas just, you know what I'm saying? And shout out to Zeus Network. I'll be on that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm with that hoorah shit, but at the same time, it's like, you gotta have, I don't want that shit in my life. I don't want my baby on that shit. You know what I'm saying? We on our fun time. We on our good time. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, but when I'm lining up and I'm picking my partner and I'm picking somebody, then I need to be able to let her rock. So I completely agree with you.
Yeah. That come from like self-value also.
Speak that, Joey.
You gotta realize when you got a good woman, you just can't throw her through everything and expect her to be solid. You're not gonna want that. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna feel like, man, I bring something to the table. She gonna feel like I'm bringing something to the table. Like, you need to hold me down the way you want me to hold you down. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that could be part of that 50-50. It ain't gotta be a bill. It could be I know when we leave this house, I expect for you run down your list of trust and value and ethics and morals. How often you even hear people talking about ethics and morals anymore?
Very rarely anymore.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, value yourself and what you got going on and expect that love and respect is reciprocated. And that's how you build some like solid pillars in a relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And you said something else key too, Joey, is like those things have to exist within you. So often, right? Because like I'm a tomboy and always have been. And I'm proud of who I am as a woman. But I am a woman first, make no mistake.
Yeah, that tomboy shit.
And I think, like
that's kind of shaky.
Yeah, fuck you.
That's kind of shaky.
But I think like so often, like I see these things on the internet where like men associate femininity with womanhood as though they have to be like one and the same. And if a woman isn't like feminine or dainty at all times, then she couldn't possibly be a real woman. Is that coming from what you lack with your mother or your grandmother, or what you've experienced from women throughout like your particular like microcosm of like community? Or is that like the real representation of like what a woman should be and should become? I think that's a conversation that we never want to have. And I think like for me, right, my mother is like all woman, the strongest one that I've ever met, but was never like a flighty, like, you know what I mean? Like type of woman. My mama's solid. And I think like she raised me to be solid.
Gotta be.
And I think more than that, my display of womanhood from my mother was that the real test of womanhood is, can you nurture? Can you touch something, cultivate it, and make it grow? And you can have all of the heels and the makeup and the wigs in the world, but if you can't touch it and make it grow, then I don't know how much of a woman you truly are. That to me is so much of the definition of womanhood. And I think so because like my definition of womanhood.
That's you, baby. Yeah.
Shout out to Boogie, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Boogie, man. Shout out to Mrs. Hall, man.
I love that.
Because I learned so much of this from her too. Because she was there for so many of my formative years. And I think like I learned that strength and kindness need to coexist in a way where you can touch a man and not only like be the strength to keep him in alignment, but also be the softness to comfort him on a bad day. Right. And for me, like, I think because my idea of womanhood comes from the way I've seen the women in my life interact with men and then interact with children and then interact with coworkers and then interact with the world, I have a different idea of what womanhood is and has nothing to do with femininity. There are so many women who are dainty and feminine who have no idea how to help you become who it is you are, who you are destined and designed to be. And if you cannot do that with all of the makeup and wigs in the world, then you are missing a big part of like your obligation in womanhood, right? So I think like when we think of it from that perspective, if we think of it from that perspective, right? When you think about like the strength of a woman in your life, right? How does that help you grow into like kind of the creative that you're becoming and are destined to become? We're gonna start with you on that one, Joey.
I love that. I got a quote for that I've been thinking about since I've been in my current relationship. And I just got back listening to, I'm probably gonna butcher this name, Toby Wigway.
Anyway, yeah.
Man, I love their relationship, bro. Because
They fired him and Fat. Shout out to Toby, man. Come on the show.
He said,
For real.
Hey. Eve came from Adam, feel like God put fat out we lipo. And it's like that match of your woman or your person being a reflection of you. Where it's like, she's not weaker than me.
Mm-hmm.
She's me in a woman form, like she got it. You know what I'm saying? If not better, because I counterbalance her, she balances me. I feel like to be in love is like to inspire creativity because it takes something out of your brain that you don't have to worry about on your day to day. I don't gotta worry about getting no numbers. I don't gotta worry about going smack. This and that. I got something solid at home that's waiting for me to go ahead get this money, make my money for the day, come back home. That's grown man shit. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Ain't grown man shit to be running around trying to do what you do because, bro, it's the seed bearer. Where does your value come from, bro?
Yeah, they say a man will not become a man until he has a woman. So you won't know if you're a man or not until you have a woman. Because a woman tests you, they're going to see if you are who you say you are. Outside of that, you got nothing to measure yourself against. So she's the determining factor if you're a man or not. If you can say you're a man, and you single out here for all this time, long period after a while, we're going down and look at you like, where's you measuring up how if you're a man or not?
I'm telling you, we did a show long time ago, man. There was some guys in here, these niggas in their 40s. Nigga ain't had a girl since he was in his 20s, writing books telling you how to find a high value man. Listen, nigga.
Yo, it comes down to it's love. Everybody can find a person, right? But you got to find love. If you haven't experienced love, you're not looking for love. That's why it's such a powerful question that you asked. That's it. Because the love of the women that have been in my life, I've had hand over fist love from women in my life. I have no reason, rhythm, or rhyme other than that I was raised to be the type of nigga that I am, because every time that I've had opportunity to get with a close relationship with a woman, not even physical or not romantic, but I mean like a philos love on a complete level of, we just happen to click. It's been the required steps for my next step. I can line up my steps. I get everything going and we in the right direction, or we making the right moves, and the progression is there. But the step that we're missing was always a woman with this love and power. I work with a dude named Lord, Lord, 2 Up. Shout out to 2 Up.
Come on the show, brother.
Shout out 2 Up. Who actually ended up connecting me with my manager with Fruit Troop, so that we can push things to get directly in line with touching the children and making sure that they're impacted into reading, and then reading things that are fun, and then reading things that are fun and impactful, so that those lessons aren't just left on the pages. Unfortunately, they seem to be doing in classrooms, and that's another conversation, whatever. With the women that I've been involved with in my life, I've always been able to get I had not even put it into words until you just said it. I've always been able to tap into the women in my life's ability to touch and reform, and to touch and build, or to touch and make something happen. So yeah, that's a cheat code. It really is. It really is. It look all the way down to
a good woman is the cheat code.
That's how the whole civil rights movement got taken off. We needed black women to be involved. Black men, bro, we fight, and we need somebody to align our thoughts and emotions. And I'm not just talking about black women, because I don't want to leave that all on the black women's shoulders. It's also just on those of us who connect with that mind state. If you line up in that figure, then you should be able to embrace all of the things that come with your role, as opposed to trying to play every role at the same time. Can I roll up? I know I can't smoke.
No, you can.
Okay,
You said the word fight, right?
jeez.
So a man really don't deserve a woman until he's able to produce and feel pain, right? So we all talking God real quick. I'm sorry. So
No, don't be sorry.
no, I'm not sorry, but I'm telling the heathens out there. But listen, when God, I'm messing around. When God created Himself and the planet, whatever, He was in great pain after doing so. That's when He created woman. He needed a comforter because He went through a great amount of pain creating all this.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't deserve a woman until you are able to produce and endure pain and fight. Then you get the reward of a comforter. That's the purpose
Let me piggyback off of what both you brothers said, because y'all hit on, but y'all didn't. You know what I'm saying? Y'all done layered it real heavy. I love it.
I'm in love, bro.
One of y'all said, me too. And it's beautiful. You know what I'm saying, bro? One of y'all said challenge to be challenged.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something my lady said to me. Man, I told you, she is stepping into the role of minister.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of our conversations early on was, you don't want to be challenged. And I had to think about that. I had to reflect. I was like, damn, she might be right. Like, am I cowering? Am I running away from something? Because I do want to be great. I look at myself as someone who is trying to step into my greatness, right? Cool. Let me accept this challenge. She was, and then this kind of stepped into us talking about prayer and to us accepting roles that enable for us to reach a higher level. And then you start to reform your thinking and how you approach certain things, how you either respond and show up, because showing up could look different to everybody.
For sure.
Or you can be like, I'm a retreat because this is a little bit more
too
pushback.
hard.
Right. This pushback I'm getting, or this didn't align with my ego, as opposed to what I needed to grow was it ruffled your feathers, and now it's like fight or flight.
I feel like that happens so often though. Like I've met so many men who retreat from women who are good to them and good for them because it like bruises the ego. She too on shit. She too loud. Like she pay too much attention to what you got going on. Men hate for you to like notice them patterns. Right? That there's a change in voice and inflection, change in body language, change in habit. Like, and that those things indicate changes in what you're doing or what you got going on behind closed doors. Like nobody likes to be like pointed at and have to admit that they were wrong and made a mistake. And that's not just men, right? Women are like that too. People do not like to be called to account. That's a hard thing just as adults. For somebody to look at you, to see the flaws in your process, to identify those flaws, and then to tell you where you're missing it, and then to try to help you move that thing forward. Adults do not like to be called into account, which is why accountability is so difficult for people. And a lot of people tend to run from that. But the reality is that the people that are meant to and designed to be in your life by God, it is their obligation to make you accountable. To the God that they serve, to whatever higher power that you serve, to yourself, and to the people that you claim to be in partnership with. To think that you could have a successful relationship with anybody, whether that's eros, whether that's philos, whether that's agape. To think that you could have any kind of successful relationship with a person and not be accountable for the person that you are and the person you are destined to become would make you crazy. That is not how any of this works. If you say that there's love there and you say that there's a future there, you say that there's growth there, whether that's with your friendships and your homies, whether that's with your girl or your wife, you got to be accountable to each other, and you got to be able to look each other in the eye and have an honest conversation about where the flaws are so that you can fix them. But if you can't have an honest conversation with your people, no matter who those people are, and say like, there is a problem here and this is what we need to do to get those steps in line, let's have a conversation about it so that we can move it forward, then you don't need to be there. But don't be out here wasting people's time because you too scared to have an emotional and an honest conversation that might make you look bad or that might make you have to face yourself. Because that really be the problem. People don't really want to change. It is very comfortable to sit in your fucking mess. It is cozy to remain in all of your shit and to say like, I'm good where I'm at. Ain't nothing wrong with me. It's something wrong with them. I see it from y'all every day on the timeline. It's not me, it's them. If 20 niggas then told you you need to work on your anger, you probably should start maybe considering that could be true. It's not everybody else all the time.
Money aside, it's easier for you to align with Future than Russell Wilson. Right?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy.
It's wild how many people hate Russell Wilson because he was a good dude.
He's a good man, Savannah.
I'm telling you, it's wild to me. And listen, I get it. Like, Future's cooler and all that shit, but I get it. Like, I know what I'm saying. Like, I know, like, it's hard for y'all to accept a corny motherfucker. I get that. Like, I really do. Like, the corny shit is hard for y'all.
What's calling corny though? You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro.
Yeah.
Was Uncle Phil corny for having Aunt Viv?
Nope.
You know what I'm saying?
Uncle Phil was a little corny.
No, bro. I mean, come on.
You thought Uncle Phil was corny?
A little corny.
Uncle Phil.
You thought Uncle Phil was corny?
Just a little.
Explain that.
My father was a well-structured man who was successful in his career and never had to wear a fucking sweater, cardigan, tucked in with the belt on the outside. Not one time. Not one time, bro. That's some corny shit. That's just saying that's some corny shit.
I
mean,
subjective, huh?
yeah, corny's very subjective. Somebody like that motherfucking sweater vest.
I think the sweater was hard.
The new Uncle Phil,
His on top, bro.
You see how they upgraded Uncle Phil?
So
You see what they doing on Bel Air?
he got a
the
little
new
better.
Uncle Phil.
The new Uncle Phil in a Tom Ford suit. You
You
better recognize they
He's
understood.
smoking not motherfucking corny. I'll tell you that much. So I'm still, I want to be a judge too. I feel you. You feel me? But you be a little corny.
But I agree with Joey though. I do feel like people align with like the cool thing and not always the right thing. Maybe
Guns and butter.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like
Things that deteriorate.
yeah, like because it's easy to do that, right? Because you look at these people who are the opposite of a Russell Wilson, and they seem to have all of the things that you value. But to me, that means you need to be looking at your value system. So, like, if a nigga talking about drugs and lean to your children who's not even engaging in that anymore, right? He think it's cool to sell that shit to your kids while he send his kids to college. I used to say the same thing about Jeezy for real. Right, he's selling your kids guns and drugs and Snowman Empire while he sent his motherfucking son to Yale.
Yeah.
Like, I think that that's crazy, but I think that that's the reality of a lot of these like these structures that have been created by design to ruin the thinking of our people. Right, so you look at like what's cool, what's popular, like overall, it tends to glorify something, and it's not the Russell Wilsons of the world. Why is that?
discipline. So they mean they just made discipline
unsexy.
They made discipline.
Discipline's not sexy.
Right, you know what I'm saying? So
Discipline's corny.
But because you don't see the discipline that it takes to be Future, because you see the glitz and glamour, and he doesn't frontline his discipline, whereas somebody like Russell Wilson frontlines his discipline. It's all about communication. It's all about, just like what you said in relationships, it's all about communication. Men don't like to be called out on their shit. Men love to be called out on their shit. Men don't like to be called out on their shit the same way you call a nigga on the street out on his shit. You know what I'm saying? If you calling me out on my shit where I feel like you're doing what it takes to be respectful to me, everybody got different gauge of respect. But if I think you being respectful to me and you calling me out on my shit, I mean, that's one of them green flags. You feel me? That's one of them things that let you know, oh, she got me. She helping me line my shit up.
For sure.
Keep you locked in.
Yeah.
I want to rephrase it because it is levels of discipline. Like, it do take discipline to even be a Future. But the discipline I mean is because we talked about earlier, our oneness or our mission with to God, that's a whole level discipline.
Right.
So I can talk about drugs and do this and go out to the club every week, every day, get a bag and travel. Women here, that's a low-level form of discipline, nonetheless discipline, but to be solid and stay on the purpose that God got you on, that's hard as hell to do.
Yeah. Character field discipline.
That's different.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, like, Sam, you raised a good point, right? I was a person for the longest. I thought as long as I kept it 100 with you, it didn't really matter, like the manner in which I kept it 100 with you, which is so untrue, especially when you talk about womanhood and especially when you talk about moving into your mission as a woman. And it took me so long to learn this, right? And it's something that I practice pretty religiously now in my current relationship. And I think it's something that we practice together, honestly, is the ability to be honest with each other without trying to break the other person. And I think like you get enough, especially our men, you gonna get enough shit from the outside world. He gonna get enough shit from his job, from his co-workers, from his family members who want something and feel like he not doing enough, from his friends who hating or, you know, whatever. Like, people get enough shit from the outside world. You do not need to be dealing with that when you're in your house. There's a way to keep your partner accountable. There's a way to be honest, to be forthright with your partner without trying to break them in half or forgetting that kindness and compassion need to lead those conversations. And I think like we see that so often, right? Because the image of like women now is dominated by Zeus Network and that kind of woman, right? Somebody who's strong and aggressive and forthright and open without concern for how they make another person feel. And I don't think that that's the way to accomplish things. And I'm telling you that as somebody who did that for a long time, as somebody who was a person who was open and honest at all times without compassion or consideration for a person's feelings or their reception to that honesty. And that matters just as much as everything else. If you're going to be honest and open with people, but not honest with yourself in terms of what that communication and how it will be received, then it doesn't really count. It's not enough to be open and honest with motherfuckers. You need to be compassionate with them too. And I think like all of this is like what you learn like in your journey through womanhood. Don't let nobody tell you that the way you say something doesn't matter, that the consideration you give a thing before you even say it doesn't matter. Thinking before you speak is a very underrated art.
I got a quote for that, man. Man, one of my favorite Nipsey quotes is, man, you gotta pace yourself. It's all about your breathing. Man, you be worked up. You be in any kind of situation. You got a second. You got a second.
Take a second. If you even if you ain't got a second, take one.
Because that second could make a lifetime of a difference.
I'm telling you, like I think like it's hard to do that though. It's easy to just like, this is what I'm thinking, to say it out your mouth. And you know what the crazy thing is? Like you'll say something in a moment you didn't even mean. It just happened to be your first thought. You know what I'm saying? And now you done damaged and broken a relationship with somebody that you care about over something that wasn't even really your intent. It's just what came out your mouth in that moment. You got to take a second to consider the words that you're about to deliver, not only how a person is going to receive them, but ask yourself, did I deliver that with kindness? Like, did I try to deliver that in a way where like they would be open to receiving it? Was I accountable when I delivered that? Because just like you call a person to be accountable, you got to be accountable for the delivery on those things too.
And that's how I've been where we from.
For sure.
Where joning is how I got close to you.
I'm telling you.
You feel what I'm saying? And now I gone from joning, and then now I got to consider how I say it.
Honestly, that was the hardest transition for me.
Not for real.
Because like that really was like how we grew up communicating.
Yeah.
Right?
For real.
It was only into our 30s for real. That
Bro,
like
it was like I gotta do something.
We gotta change the way we talking to each other. And I'm noticing that like that is something that I feel like has changed throughout all of my friendships. Slowly but surely it happened with everybody. Because I think like as you grow and evolve in terms of your career, as you grow and evolve in terms of your gift, as you grow and evolve in terms of your dream, as you grow and evolve in terms of your legacy, you also have to grow and evolve in terms of your level of communication. And that means considering what you say and if that person is going to receive it. And I think that for me has been the biggest change in being an adult. Is like, I do still be John. I mean, I cook your ass. For sure. But like with love, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes without. But, you know what I'm saying? But the truth is, like, if we're having like an honest and a real conversation, because you do want to still be able to have fun with your friends. But I think like the manner in which that communication is relayed, especially when things are heavier conversations, you need to consider the reception of the person that's on the other end. If you telling yourself that as long as you telling the truth, it don't matter how you said that shit, you wrong for that. And you got to grow the fuck up. It's not just about communicating honestly. It's also about communicating compassionately. And with, you know, some thought of mind for what the other person needs in that moment and not just what they need to hear. You can communicate things compassionately and still be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what the truth is? You can say things as compassionately as you can, and sometimes a person still won't receive it. But the truth is that one plant the seed, one water the seed, and God give the increase. So if that be the case, sometimes you plant that seed as compassionately as you can, and you're not going to get to see the return from that.
Your point was just to plant. You deliver.
Your point was just to plant.
After that, your hands are clean.
You said you was thirsty. I showed you how to get to the water.
Boom, you did your part.
And I did it as kindly and as compassionately as I could. That is my obligation. My obligation, my duty in that is to try to deliver this information in a way that you can receive it. And you might not receive that today. Might be 5 years from now before this really dawned on you what I was trying to get to you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think about this in 5 years and you think to yourself like, nah, she was keeping it a buck with me. Like, nah, she was right about that.
Mm-hmm.
Then the job is done.
Yep.
You did your part. Information work like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's times where I had read books. I might not get past the first chapter at a certain point. I'm like, I'm not in a place to receive this right now.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I always tell my folks, because parents always hit you with it may not make sense right now.
Yeah.
As you get older, you're gonna start to see it. But once somebody then communicated and enabled that information to you, guess what? Guess what you can't do? Ain't nobody ever told me.
Mm-hmm.
No, they told you. It was on your part to act on it, or whatever else the other end of that is. So
And to accept your action. Yeah, a lot of times we see the actions that we need to make, but it's difficult to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to just,
right.
For sure.
Yeah, but
For
if you
sure.
earn enough, then that motherfucking door open up and overflowed, and now you done blown up about something that you really could have just, that's not really that big. So address your situations with compassion the first time. Yeah, that's fire.
For sure.
Hell
Like, I'm telling you, man, like, I can't tell you how many apologies I've had to give, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I didn't think before I spoke. You know what I'm saying? Because I delivered something honestly with no thought of compassion, or because I didn't think at all. I reacted in a moment based on something else that was going on. That's another thing too, man. Don't make people accountable for the other shit that's going on in your life. If you got problems and situations that are occurring behind closed doors that maybe nobody know about but you and God, don't react to things and putting those things on other people as though they did something to you. Deal with that shit on your own. Because that happens a lot with people. People blow up at you and you trying to figure out what I do. Like, what I say? That shit ain't had nothing to do with you.
You caught a stray.
Yeah. You catch strays all the time from people. And you now a person is thinking like, what did I do? Like, what did I say? They going back over every action through the day trying to figure out like what they did to make you react that way, and kind of find out your reaction had nothing to do with that. That's another part of being accountable, is if you need time to yourself, if you're not having a good day, let people know that too. It's okay to just say like, I'm not having a good day today, and I don't want to bring that kind of energy around other people.
I'm just like working through it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
That's one thing about me now. Like, if I'm not having a good energy day, if I'm having a long day for whatever reason, I'm open and honest enough with my friends to be like, I'm just not really having a good day, and I don't really want to bring that kind of energy into the room. That's
fine. I'm an artist, so I'll probably still sometimes be like, God damn, dog, no. But then later on, I can be like, hey, yo, my fault, my nigga. I ain't mean no shit. Smoke a blunt. We good.
Nah, facts. And you know what, too? Like, I don't really smoke like that no more. I'm not gonna lie, like, so it's been like a few months for me. Anybody that knows me, that was my thing.
What is you talking
know
about?
what I'm saying? Like, that was my thing.
Like
and I don't see nothing wrong with weed. I feel like that's a great way to manage stress, to manage anxiety, and to deal with things that are happening with you internally. But I think for me, I just felt like that became the only way I was dealing with things. And it just got to a point where it's like, I'm not dealing with these things at all. Like, I smoke a J, I don't feel this shit no more, and that's the end of it. Like, I'm over it. But you're never actually dealing with anything or getting through anything. You can smoke and still be dealing with yourself and becoming accountable for the person that you would like to be. But you can also smoke and not be accountable for any of your shit. Because it's easy to just like smoke one, roll one, and let that shit be.
But that's the part that people don't talk about, especially in like your adolescence, like growing up, bro. It's like, if you never saw before you learn how to roll, whatever, before you get your first session, do you know how to work through your problems? Like, do you know how to like feel this, process it? Is processing your feelings and your experiences is a whole thing in itself. It don't happen in a moment. All right, damn, that happened. Now what? It's like sometimes it takes time for you to feel it out and realize, damn, my job like kirked on me the other day. That projection came from because I didn't process what happened with X, Y, and Z last week. She didn't need to catch that stray. But if I would have been doing the unpacking I needed to do, that probably wouldn't even have happened if I was really sitting with my feelings. Still do what
For
you
sure.
gotta do to like get your vibe right and all that. Do your thing, but sit with your feelings and
For
like
sure.
understand what's what, because it's going to cause a lot of diffusion. You could disarm a lot of people when you realize what you're dealing with and you know how to communicate properly.
For sure. And that sitting with your feelings is a real thing. I have learned to just be quiet. It was maybe one of my harder lessons. If I'm not having a good day, I tend to just not say anything because I'm dealing with myself in those moments. And I don't want to like rush a reaction that blames you for something that has nothing to do with anything that you did. You know what I'm saying? Like, I give it a second, I think it through, and then I try to respond in a way or to create communication in a way where like you're going to understand this. Not because I'm angry at you in this moment, not because like I'm blaming you in this moment, but because there needs to be a change in this moment and we have to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because holding on to your shit and then blowing up at a motherfucker later, you still accountable for that.
Hell yeah.
And people are good at that.
Hell
People
yeah.
good at letting shit go for months and months and months. And then in month 6, now that all this shit is built up and a bottle then exploded, now you going off on a person and feeling like you justified because you didn't have the thought of mind to communicate that the 6 months has been happening. It don't work like that with human beings. If you feeling something, you entitled to take your time and work through those emotions for as long as you need to. But what you are not entitled to is to blow up on motherfuckers because you waited 6 months to tell them that there was a problem. And now the problem is continuing to happen months later. And now you deciding to react to it all at once.
Receipts only work because both parties have the receipt.
I'm telling you.
You can't go to a store with your own copy of a receipt that from that store. They're not gonna recognize your receipt. You ain't got no receipt. Your receipt got to be communicated first, so that later on, when I'm bringing up these receipts, it's like, nah, remember this? When it's like, nah, motherfucker, I don't remember that because you ain't never said shit about that. How would I remember that shit? And it's like, oh, hold on, I should have went to the bank, pulled out my receipt through this conversation, so that next time when we beefing, I can be like, well, we had this and this already occur. Let's not go down this line. Let me align so I can pay attention to the learn curve and take the direction.
Yeah.
Let me piggyback over here. I had a moment like that today.
Yeah.
So, boom, we at the art show, and I appreciate the homie because he nipped it in the bud like it's supposed to be when you got different moving pieces with anything. We having a huddle. Shout out to the homies, art show. We had a pregame huddle, and I said, you know, we sitting there talking, and he said, hey, if anyone's any confusion, anyone feeling any kind of way or whatever, if you need to talk, let me know. I don't want it to be any lingering. And I appreciate that because I've been looking at, all right, so artwork for me, I try to move like a rapper, like how rappers got an idea, you work it for like a long time. But also with my hustle with like fitness or art, it's like pregame, a game, the huddle, your strategy, right? So it's like, the communication don't stop with Mia being the coach on the floor. No, Mia gonna hold Chaz responsible because get your ass on the wing and get right. And because she know the coach gonna crack down on her when something ain't right. Y'all don't get the same talks that she gonna get. She gotta hold all this together because she Steve Nash in this. You know what I'm saying? New nickname.
And when you talk about coaching
New
too,
nickname
right?
alert. That was great.
That was the best one today.
That was good. New
Like,
nickname alert.
when we talk about coaching, right? When you coach in a game, when does it happen?
Before.
The answer is all throughout.
Okay, I'll take that.
Happens before that game starts, happens during that game, happens after that game.
We don't stop.
Right? We talking pregame to discuss like what the plays are going to be so that we understand like what the offense and defense is going to be concerning this team. I'm coaching throughout this game so that you understand the shifts and the changes taking place so that we can make dramatic adjustments immediately. We talk after this game so that you understand what happened during this game so that if there are flaws and problems, we fix those for the next game.
Cheers.
Good coaching happens all throughout the process. So like when you look at your relationships, like you're each other's coaches. We need to talk before that problem happens. We need to talk while that problem is occurring, and we need to talk after that problem to ensure we don't have that problem again. And you got to look at your relationships and your friendships just that way. We need to be communicating all throughout. That is how like successful teams work. Coach don't coach before the game and then get quiet when the game is going on and don't talk to you once it's over to let you know what happened.
Yeah, they fast on you because I told you that was gonna happen.
Straight up.
We worked on this.
This specific drill. This one.
And a coach might give you a couple games to like get yourself together.
Yeah.
But if it's 82 games in the season, you ain't gonna get no 82 before you start getting talking to about this shit. That's how good coaching works.
Mm-hmm.
Accountability is sometimes a little more aggressive. And I think we need to understand that too. Like there's a soft touch that I think is mandatory in a woman in dealing with your man. But there's also like a solid approach that needs to happen when you notice that things are going off the rails.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to be ready for that part of it too as a man.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be ready for the fact that there are going to be some times where you're going to have some harder conversations with your woman. That doesn't mean that she shouldn't approach you with compassion, but that compassion is not always a soft touch.
Exactly.
Sometimes that compassion is just like direct, because I've been noticing that these things have been happening for long enough to where you should know better. And also, when you're talking about relationships prior to any marriage, there is an option to leave.
For sure.
So you need to be having some tough conversations before that, because I'm not obligated to fucking be here.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of us are. I do not owe you the rest of my life if there is no wedding and no ring and no contract behind this to guarantee under God that this is what it should be. People don't owe you a lifetime of getting your shit together.
Shit, post-marriage. You ain't got it together, get a divorce. Get a divorce.
You believe in divorce, Sam?
My divorce. Guess what we're celebrating? My divorce. Fuck out of here. I believe in divorce.
Word?
Yeah, big shout out to my sister for leaving that fucking bum right where he fucking stood. And I hope you're watching. Yeah, I believe in divorce. Hell,
Love you, Ariel.
divorce. Look, people, we change over time. Look, do you want to talk about a quote? I'm rocking with you. Andre 3000 gave us a whole song about it with Hey Ya, about things that run out of time. Bro, why are we holding ourselves to decisions that we made at 18 at fucking 43? If I don't want to, if I choose to, we've already chosen each other. We've already made the word that we will do this with each other. But we were wrong. So goodbye. What are you talking about? If my sister was still with that bum, she wouldn't be with the love of her life that she is right now.
Fair enough.
So I'm grateful that she was able to give herself some compassion. You made a mistake. You didn't make a mistake out of foolishness. You made a mistake out of the placement where you were.
When did you realize your mistake was made?
Oh, see, that's individual to each person. If you once you realize a mistake has been made, then we go back to the communication that has to happen where you say, hey, I'm realizing a mistake that has been made. Can we do something about this? Now you've opened up that line for change. Once that change has started and we're going and we're going and we're going, but the change is not actually happening, but I've approached you about it and I've approached you about it again. And I approached you about it with a group. That's what the Bible says. And then I approach you about it and communicating with a person that does this professionally. I'm taking all of the steps in order to do this with you, and you ain't, and it ain't working. What it ain't working?
That's I just wanted you to clean up that.
Yeah. Then it ain't working, dog. The person that I'm with right now, I'm not married to her, but I plan on being with her for the rest of my life.
Right.
That's a decision that I've made at this point in my life. And 50 years old, if I decide something different and we've communicated and we both decide something different, then something different is going to happen.
I'd like to say I saw that decision 10 years ago and he didn't listen. It took a while.
She wasn't the person I was going to be with. I can tell you that. 10 years ago, me and Lynette was knocking hoes down together, and y'all delete our number for the real. But yeah, yo, we weren't aligned in that motion, and you saw it, and I'm grateful for you, which is, like I said, God has blessed me to be able to see that in women so they can put their finger on situations and notice where it's going. So yeah, that is just another note of the fruition of the work. Yeah.
Chaz, right? As the only married person on the panel, what's your thoughts on divorce? Real talk.
I mean, he cleaned it up nice. This what we got going on, no divorce. We in it for life.
Cheers.
But you know, because he said something about the Bible. God doesn't like divorce. Right? Because to him it's like, again, he has a mission for everyone, right? So if you can easily, he cleaned it up. If you can easily get a divorce, then you can easily quit on me and me helping what I got for you in this mission, in this life purpose.
For sure.
So that's why he don't like divorces. So that's how I am with it too. I don't believe in it. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have got married if I didn't believe I was going to switch up at the end. I'm not making a mistake going into this. I'm gonna get this right the first time. We good. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not
talk that talk.
going through that. So, but But it is cases. I'm not saying you marry someone and they're abusing you and you
Bro,
getting
I wouldn't
your
be
ass
here if
whooped.
it wasn't for
Yeah, for sure. But he cleaned the steps up. Like you go, make sure you have that communication, group therapy, talking to God. And all right, this is really fixable. Then all right, we gotta do what we gotta do.
I'm gonna tell y'all like this, man. This is why you need to be keeping something first that's bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
Whatever you labeling that for me is God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Jesus Lord around these parts for me.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
yes.
But
Yeah.
whatever it is, you know what I mean, that you serve, whomever it is that you serve, it is important that you have a partner that's on the same page with y'all, because when y'all are having problems, you need a source of truth to go back to.
Mhm.
Yep.
I believe in that.
You guess something?
I think it's hard to be on it. And don't get me wrong, like, you know, I've seen situations where, like, so I'll give you a good example. So my oldest brother is Muslim Sunni. And my sister-in-law is a Christian, right? And it's been working since they was 12. But you know, there are rare exceptions. Don't think that because there are rare exceptions that you're gonna be the outlier.
Yeah,
To me, that's all they are, is the outlier.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I see that situation with my brother. But also, my brother has been with his wife really since they were 12. She used to babysit me. So like taught me how to brush my teeth, right? Like this is real shit I'm giving y'all, right? I've watched them grow and go through every evolution and change. But also, they had some time apart because my brother was locked up for a long time. So she had an opportunity to like experience life outside of him, and then to make a decision that like, nah, this is it right here. Like I done tried it without him, and I ain't interested in that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like she had 10 years to make that decision without him, and she made her choice. But that is why I look at them as the outliers. Don't be thinking that because somebody cute and sexy and y'all have a good time and a motherfucker cooking for you and all this bullshit that don't mean nothing. At the end of the day, y'all have such values rooted in shit that means nothing. Is y'all character at the same level? Do you have the same source of truth for what you believe in this life? What do you value? What does that person consider when things go wrong? Who do they become when they get angry? These are the things you need to really be looking at when you're talking about building a life with a motherfucker. What type of legacy do they want to leave? Do you believe in that? Do you align with that? You need to start asking some hard questions. Y'all so busy worried about these motherfucking Instagram pictures. It don't matter how that shit look. You know how many miserable couples I know to take fantastic pictures on Instagram? I ain't gonna say your names, but you know who you are. It's a lot of people out here servicing the internet when they need to be servicing themselves and God and what they are destined to become. And let me tell you something. I say this all the time, man. Make no mistake. The person that you spend your life with has so much to do with whether or not you reach your purpose.
That's all it takes.
So often we think like these relationships that you spend 2 and 5 and 10 years in don't matter. Do you know how much time that is out of what it is you're supposed to be doing? How much time that is out of what it is like you are meant and designed to do? Stop wasting your time with these motherfuckers you don't care nothing about. Not just for them, but for you. You delaying like all of the things that you meant to be by spending all of this time with a person who is not meant to be in your life. And I mean that in whatever capacity, whether those are the friendships that you carry on, whether those are like the business relationships that you engage in, whether those are the labels that you sign to, the people that you marry, the people you fucking. Stop wasting your time with people who are not meant to be a part of your ultimate design. That shit is wasteful. And you be thinking to yourself like, well, what's like, you know, a couple years of good fun? Man, 5-6 years out your purpose could take you 10 more years for you to get there. You want to waste that type of time? Because that's what it becomes. You spend 4-5 years in a relationship that wasn't no good for you. And then another 1.5 2 years trying to get over the shit, trying to heal your little broken heart. And then another year trying to get back to God. And then another 2 years trying to find somebody else who fill all of that shit up. You spent 10 years on this shit, man.
So can I segue real quick?
Of course.
Segue to, because that was perfect. I want to segue to this segment of this part of the show, right?
I love it.
It's called Flipping Script, right? So that's why I've been kind of in and out trying to figure this out, but I got it now, all right? Would you, this for both of you, it's for all y'all. Okay. Would you rather fall in love with someone who becomes your muse and inspires your best work, but isn't good for your personal life, or be with someone who provides perfect stability but doesn't spark your creativity?
Stability.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
I done been with that Muse bullshit.
Yeah.
I done made 2-3 albums about a Muse. You can keep that.
Mm.
I'll find inspiration elsewhere. Give me peace in my life.
Yeah, there you go.
No question.
Okay.
Give me peace.
Stability.
Mm.
Because I'm not trying to deal with ego for the rest of my life. It gotta be deeper than surface level.
Right. Okay.
We dealing with commitment and promises and a bond and something that's greater than ourselves, especially in terms of dealing with your purpose and trying to ascend as individuals or as a group. It can't be a muse. You look good to me. You do something in my brain, but what about my character? Do you help me grow? Is this a deeper understanding? Is this something that our spirits are supposed to be intertwined with?
Mm-hmm.
Muse shit that get old.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Give me equally yoked.
every day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take equally yoked over inspiration all day.
Yeah, you gonna see something that look good every day.
Contrary. Go ahead. Be the contrary.
I would say it depends on what time in my life I'm in.
Mm.
At this point, I'm looking for somebody who is some stability at home, because I'm providing for my own home. But while I was earning these stripes, to be able to put the number I do down on them contracts every week, I needed somebody to make it so that every time I put that number down, when I came back home, I was impressed. Now, I mean, it came with some blow up arguments. It came with some, you know what I'm saying, fights in the middle of the street. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I done went through, you know what I'm saying, the bullshit. It is what it is, you know. But I wouldn't be the person that I am if I hadn't gone through that. I mean, if I would, then God would have seen fit. So I went through the bullshit. I went through the loud. I went through that, and all of them women definitely made it so that I was as impressive as possible. Not necessarily just for them, but because of the status of life that I wanted to accomplish. So while I was accomplishing the steps that I can to be able to walk into a place and just pay for my car and not have to worry about car payments, I needed somebody that was going to keep my ass going. I was just talking to my manager earlier today about this shit. 36-hour work days. You know what I'm saying? That was nothing while we was in New York. We was on a set. If I had 2 sets, I'm going from one set to the next because I'm trying to make this money. And I'm only making $350 a set. And I got this coming, or I got that coming, or I got to put on my own show. And I need my show to look like the shows that got these fucking $10,000 budgets.
Right.
Then I need $10,000. You don't get $10,000 budget without $10,000. So so I needed that in order to get to where I was. Right now, thank God I'm with somebody who inspires both. You know what I'm saying? You forgot to throw that in there. I'm giving you a heads up. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who inspires both. But yeah, during the time in my early 20s, for sure, there was no question. I would have a stable woman at home. I would have made her an unstable woman for the next man. I wasn't looking for nothing like that. I got my own mental stability and shit going on my own. You feel me? I need this bag. Yeah.
Hey,
Let me say this.
go ahead.
So I would say, look, boom, come on, bro. I ain't going after no little, you know what I'm saying? No little ragamuffin. I don't want no ragamuffin. Of course, she looked like something. She's presentable, and she's gonna be the things that I like. Facts. But once we get past the bullshit, my mom always say, "Hey, look, because I'm the only boy. Look, every little thing got a fat ass, pretty face." She told me just like that. It's gonna come with something. You don't be chasing that. You know what I'm saying? My mother gave me gems like a Lauryn Hill record. You hear me? So yes, bro, she looked like something, and she's gonna feel the same way. But what are we doing for the deeper growth? That's where it's rooted in. But you're right. Look, bro, I feel everything you're saying.
I feel like y'all answered it. I feel like based on the conversation we had, I kind of know where y'all gonna go with these answers today. But you know, I got a couple more.
Okay.
Would you rather be remembered for a body of work created during your most dysfunctional relationships, or have a happy life story with mediocre creative output?
A. I'll answer first. I'd rather have A because Mediocrity doesn't breed greatness. And I got a lot on my shoulders, and I got a lot of shit. I got a lot of people to take care of. It's a reason that I run with my brother. It's a reason that I run here with my sister. It's a reason that I'm running with people who I align with in their goals. And I can't do that being mediocre. So yeah, if I just got to fight a little bit at home, as long as the pussy good, we good. Yeah.
Joey,
Damn.
tell the truth now. Shame the devil now.
I ain't gonna hold you. Me, you see what I do, bro. Like this, I'm gonna have that shit cracking. Me being in love and like going through some shit. So it's always that's when I make my best work. If I'm going through something, every time it resonate and it get across and people feel it. Bro. So yeah, I'll take that shit, but it's gonna also prove to be like, nah, his heart was really in it. So yeah, I go through the mud. You know, we get it out real quick.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. All my best shit came from dysfunctional relationships. So that's it. And I feel like I'm retired now because I'm no longer living in dysfunction. So there it is. Like I did not. All my greatest work was when I was going through hell with these niggas. Like I ain't gonna hold you. Like I was going through hell with you niggas. Some of you niggas in them stories every week. I ain't gonna say your names. I ain't gonna embarrass you, but you need to cut it out and leave me alone. Like you need to go on about your business now. Like some of this shit getting crazy. Like
the twist is I threw the mediocre in it, but for me, my best work is happening now, and I'm at a happy place.
I respect the shit out of that. That's fire.
My best work is in reflection. And take the bullshit to get to the reflection. But my best work is in reflection.
Yeah.
After I've gone
that might be a little more accurate, but I'm reflecting on all the dysfunction. I'm reflecting like a motherfucker on all the dysfunction. But I mean, I do think like you get like a level of peace and clarity when it's all over. And so you are able to examine those things like really maybe a little bit more efficiently than like when you were in the midst of your dysfunction. But like for sure, like inspired by dysfunction is probably the most accurate, if I'm being real.
Okay. All right, last one. Would you rather be with someone who is your creative equal but constantly competes with you and can't really celebrate your victories, or with someone who is not in your field but subtly holds you back from taking big creative risks because they're afraid of how success might change you?
Oof. Yeah. I think this is when we bring in my divorce. Right. I can't ride. These you put me between a shit show and a fucking toilet. So I don't know how to see that one through, if I'm being honest. Shit, as long as we succeed, I guess at the end of the day, because one of them came with success and the other one came with, they both hating on me, right? Both hating on me, but in one of them we're competing for success, and the other one we're just successful in different realms, but you're also still trying to hold me back. So I guess the one that's not holding me back. Yeah.
So the one that you're competing against.
Yeah, let's compete.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joey?
I'm a soldier, son.
Wait,
so
are they competing?
The option A is
that's what I thought. Okay.
Oh God, that's ugly.
It's rough.
Yeah, but you can't. I'm gonna look at her like, man, you champ. You can't. Damn, something you can't say good job. Like what the fuck?
Fact.
You gonna say the same thing when you try and take a step, and she like, well, maybe we shouldn't. Every time you try to do something bigger.
But he ain't say we not rooting for her.
You doing something brand new. You did something brand new, right? You got 3D printed art. You ain't on no fucking slum ass fucking, I just threw this paint on some shit and did it. You did 3D printed art. If you went and was like, I'm about to do some 3D printed art, and she was like, maybe you should do clay instead of 3D printed art, because clay like does the same thing, right? And it's like, nah, but why you hold me back from taking 3D printed art? My shit different. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got the same shit that some schmo on the side of the road with clay can do. You know what I'm saying? Took some extra steps. She can't stand on the set, but your extra steps, my nigga.
And you gotta answer this question, Joey. Come on, we got all night. We got all night, goddammit, right? Give it up.
Before I chime in,
5, 4.
Hey.
All right, so you taking competition too.
Baby.
All right. I'm gonna say this and then we're gonna close it out, man. As someone who was in a relationship with somebody who was not proud of my creative ventures and did try to hold me back. And now being in a relationship with somebody who is helping to record this show as we speak and being supportive of those dreams, minus the competition. I would probably rather be with a competitor. Because I'm telling you, like, and being in a relationship like that for as long as I was, there's nothing worse than coming home to somebody who like doesn't really believe in you, because that's what it takes to try to hold me back, is that you don't really believe that this could be successful.
Or you're scared. Because it just said you might change. They just subtly hold you back from taking big risks. Not saying they don't celebrate you, they supporting you. They just scared of what the outcome may look like because they not familiar with that creative field you in.
Got you. So my counter to that, right? God did not give me the spirit of fear, but of love, but of power, and of a sound mind. We're gonna get up out of here, man. Like, it's been a great show, you know what I'm saying? I'm honored to be sitting with these three men. This is probably one of my favorites, one for the books. I'm so thankful that we got to have like an open and an honest conversation, that everybody got to share equally and openly. And hopefully, you know what I'm saying, this footage come out good this week. Prayers up, man. Prayers up. We're going to let the guys close out, introduce themselves. We're going to start with you, Joey, and then we're going to get up out of here.
Oh, yeah, man, this was fire. Joeespacey, visual artist by way of PG County, Maryland. Joeespacey. Them heartstring balloons are for sale. I'm outside. Spring, summer, I'm doing hella exhibitions. I'm active. It's cracking. And yeah, the homie art show is going to be regularly in circulation. I'm on my collaborative wave right now, and I'm just happy to be here. Appreciate you, man.
Of course.
Hell yeah. My name is Samoris. That's Samoris on all platforms. I'm an artist, I'm an entertainer, and I throw events. I'm a coordinator in our city. Come and see me and be about it. We got Love and Power Fest coming up. I can't go without saying that. Love and Power Fest, our very first festival, July 26th. Reach out to me, get in contact with me. The flyers are available. We're gonna do our best to make sure.
Press pass?
Please.
Yay!
Definitely got a press pass for
you
that.
weren't there at Love and Power Fest, man. Tap that hell.
And we're gonna need Joeespacey in the building. I told him as soon as I saw the art, it goes right along with our platform. So please, if you can be in the building, we'd love for you to be there. Love and power is what we've been pushing. It's something that we love and need in our community as Black folks, and as just members of this United States going through the shit that we're going through right now. So Love and Power, that's what it is. Love and Power Fest. That's July 25th. We got another one coming up on June 20th. We're gonna be a Juneteenth celebration happening down at 201 right on Capitol Hill at the Consortium. We got a project dropping on the 25th of this month. Look out for Control. We already started dropping the visuals for that, so look out for those. Brand new one came out this morning. It's always something, and it always will be. So I'm grateful, and thank y'all for having me.
Man, I like that. That's what's up. Chaz DL, CHASDELLE on all platforms. Like, share, subscribe. Thank y'all fellas for coming through. And oh yeah, go get that. The bird by the door. Out now.
And as always, man, I am your host. Make sure you follow the You Weren't There podcast, YOUWERENTPODCAST, for all you non-spelling motherfuckers. And make sure you follow us every man. And we on IG, we on TikTok, we on X, really Twitter. We know what it is, man. But make sure you follow us everywhere. Also, make sure you follow me at Mia Was Here 5_. I'm so honored that you guys spent another week with us. I'm so thankful for your time. I'm so thankful for your energy. And I hope you enjoyed this one, man. God bless, and we out.